Thanks for joining me. This is Danny, and welcome back to my Botania series. Today we are going to be playing with rods and avatars. It's going to be kind of a miscellaneous episode because there are rods of many, many different types, and we're going to be just taking a look at a whole bunch of different rods and see what we can do with them and what avatars can do with them as well. Rods are basically things in Botania that are handheld items that do special things. Like some of them are defensive, some of them are offensive, some of them can manipulate things in the world. We've already played with a couple of rods. Rod of the Skies. This was before we had flight. We made the Rod of the Skies, which is a really nice early game way to get vertical. And we used this in the end when we went to kill the Ender Dragon and did some other stuff in the end, and it was very, very, very useful. We've also played around with the Rod of the Shifting Crust. This is a rod that it's basically a swapping wand that allows us to swap blocks with other blocks that we have in our inventory. We're going to take a look at a lot more examples today, and we're also going to see how we can use living avatars, which are cute little tile entities that we can place in the world that can do things with the rods. For instance, if we give a living avatar a Rod of the Skies, anytime anybody jumps near that avatar, they will be launched into the sky just like this. And they'll also get feather falling on the way down so that they don't hurt themselves. So there's two rods that I made, probably two of the most basic, simple, and easy rods. One of them is called the Rod of the Lands, and the other is called the Rod of the Seas. And the Rod of the Lands actually produces dirt from nothing, well, from mana. So you don't have to carry a bunch of dirt around in your inventory. Anytime you need a block, you can just place some dirt with this thing. Hooray! And we're actually going to take a look at an upgraded version of this thing that does even cooler stuff. And then we also have the Rod of the Seas, which is going to give us water all the time. So we started out with the really basic stuff, and we're going to get more and more and more interesting as this episode goes on, and more expensive, incidentally. So we saw the Rod of the Lands. Now there's an upgrade to the Rod of the Lands called the Rod of the Highlands. This one's pretty nice. So if you've ever used like an angel block from extra utilities. Oh wow, how am I even able to? Okay, whatever. It basically works like that. It's going to place dirt wherever you click, even if you don't click on a block. Now getting a little bit more expensive, we're moving to the Rod of the bifrost. So this one's a little bit more expensive, and it can be really useful if you don't have flight. Now since we have flight, it's not particularly practical for us right now, but it does have other uses than the one that we're just about to take a look at. So if I can look over there, and I right click with this, it's going to make a rainbow bridge. And this rainbow bridge is going to last for about 15 seconds or so. And you can see that there's a cooldown. So we're not going to be able to use this thing again until it's cooled down. And once it cools down, this bridge is going to go away. It can go up to 100 blocks. There are also some other things that we can do with this rod, and this is the first rod that we're going to check out with the living avatar, because when you give it to a living avatar, it actually works really cool. But before we take a look at that, the Rod of the Bifrost can also be used to craft a bunch of different interesting blocks. For instance, we can make a Bifrost block, which is made from elf glass, and it's basically glass that changes colors. And then from that, we can make these other blocks. Mana glass. We put into our portal to Elfheim. And then if we craft that with our living avatar, we get our Bifrost blocks. And then with our Bifrost blocks, we can do many other things. For instance, we can make Shimmer Rock. And with Shimmer Rock, we can make stairs, we can make slabs, and we can make the fabulous mana pool, which is essentially the same as a regular mana pool, except that it looks cool. Because, as we will see, all of the Bifrost blocks change color over time. Did I drop something? No. Change color over time. Which is pretty neat. So now I want to make a living wood avatar. Oh, the living wood avatar is very cute. And that's all it is. That's all it does. Just stand there. Unless you give it a rod. So the living wood avatar is kind of an automation thing. And it works with multiple rods. Not all the rods, but many of the rods have actions that are performed by the living wood avatar when you give it to it. But it does need mana. So we're going to need a spreader. I guess we'll just use a regular mana spreader because that's what we've got on hand. And I'm going to put this guy I'm gonna put him right here. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's right where I want him. Okay, and of course we can use our Wand of the Forest in function mode to turn him in different directions, or her, as the case may be, I don't know. And then I'm going to grab a mana spreader, place it there, and then I'm going to put my wand in bind mode, shift right click, so that we can get some mana in this guy. Although it will not accept mana unless it has a rod, so I'm going to give it this Rod of the Bifrost. It's going to fill up with mana. We might want to put some wool on there to quiet it down. I'm going to get rid of this. And now this isn't a particularly practical thing in this situation, but I think it's really neat. If we want to go over there and we don't feel like flying, because flying is so much work. Hey, it's a rainbow bridge. And it has a range of 20 blocks. So, and it will just appear anytime a player stands there. Or even when we just happen to jump there. So like, it disappears, and then it comes back. That is really cool. I love that feature. So I need to do a little bit of rune crafting. We may as well upgrade our mana spreaders, right? We have so many of these Gaia spirits. We can make the Gaia mana spreader with some dragon... Wait. With some dragon stone, which is just a mana diamond put in the trade portal. So check out how fast this is going to be. But let's put our... Let's swap our rune crafter. Oh, and these do change colors too, just like our shimmer rock. Okay, they're both facing that. Okay. So we need a rune of autumn. Oh my god! Did you see that? That was a second tier rune. Crazy. Oh, I don't even have a living rock ready. It's too fast for me. I can't even keep up. Okay, we're going to look at two pretty powerful rods now. One of them is the Rod of the Terra Firma. As you can see, it's pretty expensive. It requires all 4 seasons, and then the Terra Steel, and then a Rod of the Lands. So, you know, not a big deal there. And then one of my favorites, the Rod of the Unstable Reservoir. As you can see, this one's a little bit expensive. Just a little bit. And the Rod of the Unstable Reservoir. Nice. Let's play with that one first. Because it's nighttime, it's a good time to play with the Rod of the Unstable Reservoir. Let's go back to our favorite mob hunting grounds. We're going to need kind of a clear... Oh, I put up a star field. Alright, I kind of want to get out into the plains, though. Uh-oh. No. Get out of the way. Where we can get a few mobs together. And... Nice, look at that. So that's what this thing does. It basically shoots a bunch of mobs at once with these little thing. Actually, let me go into third person so you can kind of see what's going on here. Everything's dead though. There's nothing left to kill. Whoa, that was weird. Okay. And this thing will only target hostile mobs. As you can see, the cow is not getting hit, and neither am I. Very cool. Of course, this does use a fair amount of mana. This would be really nice for the Gaia fight. I wonder how Endermen deal with this. Or does it just miss them completely? Oh no, it hits the Enderman. Look at that. Oh wow, look at that. Very nice. And if I right click it when there's no hostile mobs around, it doesn't do anything. I'm just gonna walk by these guys. They're all dead. The Rod of the Terra Firma is a really, really powerful terraforming tool. It will flatten it'll flatten the land around you to the level that you're standing. And what's nice about it is it will try to do it in a way that looks natural. So if we stand on the edge here, you'll see that it's kind of going to follow like a natural shape. It's not just going to do like a square. Oh, super. I love this thing. Let's say we want to completely flatten this island and make it bigger. That is the wrong... Look at that. Look what we just did in like 3 seconds. So as you can imagine, you could station some of these guys out here and give them a Rod of the Unstable Reservoir. As you can see, they kind of take on the color of the rod, or the patterns based on the rod that they're holding. That thing's going to attack anything that's going to get anywhere near here. And it has a pretty large radius too. So nothing would get in here. Of course, we already have mega torches here, so it's not going to be particularly useful, but you do have to give these guys mana. You can just right click to remove the rod. Now we're not going to look at every single rod. Of course, if you want to learn more about the rods, you can look in your Lexica Botania. But there is one more rod that I want to take a look at that's also one of my favorites. And that is the Rod of the Shaded Mesa. And this one is really useful for a lot of things. But one thing you can use it for is to just grab entities and carry them around with you. You can set them down. And as soon as you right click, it'll drop them. If you left click, it will throw them. So this can be really useful if you want to move animals around. It could also be really useful in a combat situation because, of course, you can always do that. Yay! Although you don't get XP for that. But it can be good in a pinch. It also works with items because, you know, they're entities too. Oh, I almost forgot. I did make a promise at the end of the last episode, didn't I? I promised I was going to spawn a wither at my base. Well, not really. I promised I was going to use the Pinkinator. Hooray! Decorator. So this is the Pinkinator. It's turned the wrong way, though. Hello. And he's full of love. He's full of love. So the Pinkinator was a drop from the Gaia Guardian. Look at you, you're killing me. I'm so happy and I love you so much. She does not drop another star, so honestly, it's kind of a waste of resources. But whatever, it was fun and cute. If you do want to learn more about your rods, if you look in your Lexica Botania, under mystical items, you'll find all the rods in here. And of course, if you hold the shift key, you'll get a shortened description of the rod. And of course, you know, you can click on it to get more, or you can look in JEI and hold down the control key while you have the Lexica Botania in your hotbar, and it'll pop you right to that page. We looked at all my favorite ones. So the rest of them, you know, you might find that you like some of the other ones too, but those were my favorites. And by the way, I did make this little starfield creator, which is just a visual thing, but it's Elementium, Pixie Dust, which is an Ender Pearl, and Obsidian. And it makes these stars. They're actually particles. You can actually fly up to them and get close to them because they're just particles way up there. So anyway, in the next episode, I think we're going to be looking at alternative mana gen. Because we've just been doing endoflames. We've been generating all of our mana from endoflames, which really are my favorite way to generate mana because it's so scalable, and you know, you can always do the tree farm. They're easy. They're actually probably one of the easiest ways to generate mana. I want to look into doing an alternative, or another one of the generating flora, so that we can generate more mana faster. And I haven't decided which one yet, so if you have any suggestions or ideas, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I was thinking about doing the Kekimeras, which does mana from cakes, and it's a really involved process to get that all automated with just Botania. But it's possible. The only reason I wouldn't want to do it is because a lot of other people have. I mean, if you do a search on YouTube for automated cake from Botania, you'll see quite a few. I was thinking perhaps the Spectrolus, which is mana from wool. And it's not as straightforward as you might think. Of course, you know, none of the mana generation is terribly straightforward. All of it requires some non-trivial automation. So in the case of that one, you have to give the flowers all of the wool, and in a particular, or all the different colored wools, and in a particular order. Otherwise, it just consumes the wool and you lose it. So I may look into automating that for our next episode. Otherwise, if you want to see me automate one of the other ones, especially if it's something that you haven't seen anyone else do, and you think it's possible, and that it's not completely impossible, let me know. And maybe we can do more than one. So even if I already decided to do something else, I might still take your suggestion. So, and of course, if you have any questions about anything we did today, about the rods, about the avatars, or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button and to join me next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.